How can one financially prepare for divorce? Not only is this a huge emotional decision, but it can take a toll on your finances too. So, when you're wondering about everything that you can do to financially prepare yourself for divorce, there are some things that are crucial to know beforehand. The first and most important thing is to speak to an attorney before you file for divorce. When you start to file for divorce, there are several factors that need to be considered as you proceed. One of these is that a temporary financial injunction goes into place automatically when the court assumes jurisdiction over the parties for the purposes of dissolving the marriage. That means with this injunction, it's like a restraining order. There are restrictions on things you can and cannot do with regard to your marital estate. You can't make changes to your insurance policies usually. You can't conceal or spend your assets in a significant way. Unfortunately, this is something that we often do see. One party wants to pay off a loan and the other one doesn't, but they're in the middle of a court case. That's a huge problem. So when the injunction goes into effect, it goes into effect automatically when the case is filed. But there are a few things you can do before that point that can make a difference in how your case is handled and how you are able to financially prepare for divorce. One thing is that you should not move your assets around prior to divorce to keep them out of the divorce. That just looks shady. That's not a good idea. Doing this is known as dissipation of assets in contemplation of divorce. And there is an economic fault element that the court can look back on and see whether either party has been doing this even before the divorce is filed. There's a look back period. So if you're moving things around and trying to hide assets, that's not a good idea. If the court finds out that you're doing this, you can get into a lot of trouble, resulting in high costs for tracking down those assets and providing that information to your soon-to-be ex-spouse. Overall, divorce is a very complicated ordeal. Rather than risking making a mistake, it's recommended that you contact an attorney immediately when you think divorce may be where you end up. It's one thing to call an attorney and then not need them later if you rectify your relationship. It's another thing entirely to get too far down this path with bad legal advice, or worse, no legal advice, and find yourself in a situation of having to explain where assets went and being on a judge's bad side for dissipation of assets.